Welcome to Corner of the Galaxy, the show that talks 100% LA Galaxy soccer. We're glad you could join us. Now it's time to sit back and relax as your hosts navigate through the twisting, turning, but never boring world of the five-time MLS Cup champion, LA Galaxy.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com, coming to you live from Corner of the Galaxy Studios on a wonderful Thursday night, March 7th, getting you ready for the LA Galaxy's first away game against FC Dallas. So a lot of stuff to talk about. Some signings have now hit thanks to the sale of Ola Kamara, the buyout of Giovanni Dos Santos, all the drama that we certainly saw at the beginning of the season and leading up to this very first game. So all that drama is done. Players starting to come in, and I don't think the Galaxy are done either. So we're going to talk about the signings. We have power rankings, because why wouldn't you do power rankings after the very first game? We have standings. We have Galaxy news. We have injury updates. Again, all that getting you ready for the Galaxy Saturday game, 12:30 p.m. kickoff time against FC Dallas. So a lot to get to, but I'm not here alone, you lucky people. No, I'm not. Please welcome back to the show. I forgot he even worked here on occasion, but please welcome back Mr. Eric, the Portuguese Hammer Vieira. Eric.
I was going to say, you're not the only one who forgot that I worked here. You get a lot of guff when you don't show up a few weeks in a row. But, now the season is on.
Yeah.
Real games are happening. Hammer's back. It's hammer time.
The hammer is back. All right.
Yeah.
If you say so. I would also like to point out, because this is an important point, especially for this particular show, is there is a fly in the studio.
We're going to get him.
And we're going to get him. All right. So if you're watching on the live stream and you see us go crazy,
it just popped.
The fly is in here, and we're going to get him. I'm just warning. If you're listening on the podcast, just imagine this little. Really, he's a terrorist of a fly.
He really is.
He's been in our heads. He's been around. So just keep an eye open for the fly and for us catching the fly. And we'll see how that goes. But lots of Galaxy news.
That's our goal. We have 60-plus minutes to catch the fly. Your mission. Should you choose to accept it?
I was gonna. Is it like an escape room? We can't leave until we catch the fly? Do you ever feel like, have you done any of the escape rooms?
I have not. I've heard a lot of good things about escape rooms, but I've never actually done it.
I did one in Glasgow, Scotland. That was my first escape room.
That's one place to start doing your escape rooms.
Some
people start small, but I guess you can go to Scotland and do an escape room.
It was nervous. I was nervous.
Yeah.
I was like, this is hard.
Anxiety, yeah.
Am I going to have to do math? I was told there would be no math. Anyway, the LA Galaxy back to training. Really some light training, and it's been raining as well, but light training. They had Monday off. Light training on Tuesday. Light training on Wednesday. Not a lot of guys showing up. Again, light training on Thursday as we're recording as well, and Galaxy will ship off after their training, I believe, on Friday morning and actually head to FC Dallas. So they'll take off to Frisco, Texas, and spend the night there. I would guess, in a way, traveling the way Zlatan likes. But as, of course, we're going to talk about a little bit, there's no guarantee. Mr. Z will be traveling with the LA Galaxy.
After FC Dallas made that cute little video, they're promoting Zlatan. I think they may have been on purpose, a strategic move. Said, okay, you want to be like that? I think my Achilles is bothering me.
I think a lot of Galaxy fans were pretty critical of FC Dallas, especially being FC Dallas sells Zlatan jerseys at their place last year. I mean,
well, it's a smart business move.
I mean, yeah, you can, but you can't also make fun of the guy who then you're trying to make money off of. And clearly, they're advertising him coming because.
Even bad press is press.
Yeah. There you go. All right, so we get into it. Before we get too far away, Corner of the Galaxy, best in the Galaxy t-shirts, like Mr. Eric, the Portuguese Hammer, is wearing right now. Still open for round 2 until March 13th. So you basically have a week to get your shirts in, to get those orders, and then that's good. I'm going to tell you something right now. All the shirts that you see on our website right now and all of our future shirts are going into something that we call an open campaign, which basically means that if you want a shirt, you click on the order button, and it will start a campaign if nobody else has started it, and it'll run for 2 weeks, and then after 2 weeks, if there's enough shirts, it prints them, and if not, you'll be notified whenever somebody else prints it again. So it'll just constantly be open. So that means all the shirts that you see will always be available for you to be grabbing, and for the most part, being we've already met the printing numbers on those, whenever we open them up again, you're already automatically guaranteed to print.
Oh,
so
very cool. Good times at cornerofthegalaxy.com. Huh?
And I will tell you, Eric, there are 2 more shirts we're ready to release.
Oof.
So we're waiting. We're waiting.
Ooh, okay.
So,
I was going to say, I've got a design idea as well.
You do. We're working on that one.
We're working on that one.
We're going to work on that one. That's a good one. I like it.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
We got to just tweak. We got to figure it out. So anyway, but that's what's going on. Also, the COG scarves run on Corner of the Galaxy scarves. I think I have about 10 left.
Oof. Act now.
Yeah, act now. Hurry. $20. $20 plus shipping. Yes, shipping's expensive, but yes, it gets there really fast.
Yeah.
So, $20 for the scarf plus shipping. Usually ships almost anywhere in the United States in 3 days. So
does it go to Glasgow?
It does, actually.
Right.
I have shipped some overseas. I've shipped one to Italy. I've shipped one to Japan.
They're everywhere.
They are everywhere. Worldwide.
Join the movement. Prestige worldwide.
So anyway, so that's where it is. All right, let's get to the LA Galaxy, and of course, because it's after the first game, Eric, we have to start with stats. And Josh loves his stats.
Where are the charts? I came for the charts.
All the charts that you could possibly imagine right here for your perusal. Except that there are no charts because it's the first game, and how do you do a chart after the first game?
I'm here for the Daniel Stairs leading scorer chart.
Yeah,
I'm ready for that one.
Yeah, we will get it, and that is obviously one of the best stats. Daniel Stairs.
I'm sticking with it.
Almost golden boot. Just third place.
He's one behind.
He's one behind,
but he's also one ahead of Joseph Martinez.
Okay,
so
that's good. That's good. He's almost there. Him and Zlatan tied for the LA Galaxy leading goals. But the craziest stat of 2019, I'm calling it early. This is the craziest stat of 2019. Having looked at the roster, the LA Galaxy have, count it, not one, not two, not even three, and let's not stop at 4, but 5 players with the last name that starts with an A. How is that possible?
That's the stat that you're going with?
That's the stat of the year.
Wow.
5.
Okay.
Alessandrini, Alvarez, Antuna, Araujo, and Ariano. That is a statistical anomaly.
And I could tell you as former classroom teacher, when you get that attendance sheet on the first day of school, there's maybe 1A, maybe 2As. So to have 5 on a roster of 25, that is odd. I'll give you that. I laughed it off at first, but
you're starting to come to my side.
I'm starting to come around and say that is pretty spectacular.
25% of the LA Galaxy roster.
I was told there'd be no math.
25% of the LA Galaxy roster starts with an A.
Well, there you go.
Last name starts with an A.
No MLS team is going to beat us. See, Zlatan said we were going to break records. Every record in MLS. There's one. We're already off to a great start.
Somebody said that the LA Galaxy or that Zlatan also counts as an A because they spelled it ZL capital ATAN.
Yeah, the rules don't apply to him.
No, of course not. Of course not. So anyway, that's that. I wanted to make sure we got that. Now
we're off to a great start.
This is a fire show right now. You just wait. There's some fireworks coming up. There are fireworks coming. But as we go along, I wanted to make sure we got to this email. Sarah from South Pasadena. There are 2 Sarah from South Pasadena. They don't know each other.
I was going to say, that's stranger than 5 A's on the roster is 2 Sarahs from South Pasadena. It's
maybe.
Impressive.
Stat of the year, right there. 2 Sarahs from South.
Stat of the decade.
There
really.
it is. So anyway, and she writes it as S from SP because I literally know it. That's why. Let's see. She goes. She says, I was listening to Monday's podcast and I heard you and Kevin talking about the decision mistakes made by the previous regime. Other than Pete Vianis, I can't recall any other upper management changes. Chris Klein was president during that debacle and still remains, much to my chagrin. He's as quiet as a church mouse, though, and I think he's letting DTK and GBS take some of the heat from the GO buyout. Is it just me, or does Klein need to own up to his mistakes and let people know that he was at the helm when those decisions were made and that he takes responsibility for it? I am a big believer in owning your stuff, so this has just not sat well with me. I told my previous season ticket member rep that I wouldn't renew my tickets until he either owned up and took credit for the numerous mistakes he allowed to take place after Bruce left and before Dennis Teclosa came on board, or until he leaves. Thoughts? So does Chris Klein need to come out and declare, I do declare, that I made mistakes?
I messed up. I effed up. Oh, I don't know. I don't know if he... I think I agree that he has been quiet, and DTK really has been the figurehead of the LA Galaxy since he's joined. He's been the one speaking on every single signing. They interview him about every player that they sign. The Gio buyout, he seemed to be the go-to person, the point person when they had that discussion. So the only part about that email is when say letting GBS and DTK get the grief for it, but I don't know that there's tons of grief about the buyout. I haven't been here since the buyout, since Stick Figure Gio. We're here.
Stick Figure Gio's over the hammer shoulder right now. Again, if you're not watching the YouTube show on a fun, we try to have fun.
So that's the only part. I don't know that people are blaming DTK for that or GBS for that, but it may be a good faith gesture for Klein to come forward and say, we made some mistakes, and right now we have the right people in charge, and they're righting the ship and taking care of things. So I think if all goes well and we have a successful season, make the playoffs, the team does well, individuals step up, the new signings live up to the hype. I don't know that you're going to see Klein come forward and say, well, we're doing great now, let me apologize for the mistakes I made. I think he'll take credit and say, look who I brought in. I fixed my mess. So I don't know that we should be holding our breath, waiting for Klein to apologize. So I don't know that I see it that way.
Yeah.
I understand.
I get it.
Yeah.
Here's my thing. Here's my take on it, is that there has to have been something that was said to Chris Klein where it was basically, hey, any more mistakes and you're on the road. And so he came in and he let DTK come in, and he let Dennis DeClosa come in, and ever since then it's been, those are Dennis's and those are Guillermo's decisions. It really has been arm's length at all possible. Like, hey, staying away. This isn't me. I'm not making these decisions.
One more mistake and you're gone. Well, you can't make mistakes if you don't do anything. So
yeah,
that's one way to look at it.
It is, and it's also a way of a little CYA too, right? Because if things go horribly wrong, you can say, "Hey, I wasn't in on this. I stepped back. I gave it all up. This is where it is." So, yeah, again, from Sarah, I don't think you're going to get an apology. No. I don't think the Galaxy have really reconciled with what they did over that time. It doesn't feel like it. I mean, the guys who were in charge of that front office outside of Pete Vianis, who originally still had
we're gonna get it. We're gonna get the fly. Nope.
No.
Breaking. This just
so
in.
close.
The fly is loose.
The fly's
been bought out.
Right through my hands. The defense I have, just not good enough. But no, I don't think that you're gonna see that. I don't think that Klein or anybody else in the Galaxy really have ever taken. And maybe they don't. Maybe you don't need to.
And that's what I'm saying. When things go well, no one's gonna say, "Wow, Chris Klein, what a guy." But when things go bad, he's definitely gonna wear it as well. So I think it's kind of you're an unsung hero when things go well, and when things go poorly, you're the first to blame. So it comes in waves.
Obviously, yeah, absolutely. So that's where I sit on it, Sarah. I think that's where Eric sits on it as well. I don't know if Chris Klein ever wants to come on the show, which I've invited everybody for a while now.
After that glowing review of him, I don't see why he wouldn't want to come on. And
we could ask him that question. I'd have no listen. Chris will answer questions.
I feel like if you asked him, if he was a guest, I think he would be honest and say, maybe we made some choices that put the club in a bad position. I think he would admit to that. I don't know the man.
Right.
I don't picture having to pay someone $6.5 million to walk away from your team, defending that decision, saying, well, everything was great. That was a great move. You have to admit that was a failure to an extent. So I think if you asked him point blank and it was a pointed question, I would imagine he would own up to it.
I don't know. We'll try. We'll try, Sarah. So thank you, Sarah, the other Sarah from South Pasadena. Although I don't mean to that sort of diminishes her.
That's what I was gonna say. Sarah 1, Sarah 2, but that's kind of wrong too.
That's wrong too.
You're all number one.
You know what, you're all my favorites. That's how it goes. All right. Let's now go on down to some of the signings the LA Galaxy made ahead of this game with FC Dallas. One of these was, I guess, semi-expected. You're seeing the LA Galaxy really fill out a roster, and whenever you fill out a roster, that means you fill out a roster with senior players, with reserve players, with supplemental players. Those are all parts of it. So each of these has its sort of own bearing on what the roster is doing, and all of them are fine in terms of filling out an entire roster. Remember, spots 1 through 20, Eric, are the senior roster team. All right. And so those are the guys that you're going to see on the senior roster, and all those 1 through 20 count against the salary cap. Anything else, supplemental roster, reserve roster, however, they don't count against the cap.
Perfect.
So you sort of...
So it doesn't hurt the team, really.
No.
And you can only suit up 18 on any given game. So the senior team, those 20 spots are really the important spots.
Those
other, if you've been following the team, those 20 through 30 type slots, those are the type of guys who you loan down to G2, and so those aren't bad pickups. I think it is what it is.
No, they're not bad pickups. I will tell you this as well, that there are names that are in the reserve side of this that you wouldn't necessarily expect. And really that all comes about just by the way that you're able to classify some of these guys here. So the Galaxy only have 16 of 20 senior roster spots currently filled right now. Their supplemental roster includes guys like Servando Carrasco, Emil Cuello, Tomas Hilliard-Arce, Matt Lampson. Those are your supplemental guys. Then your reserve guys, Efrain Alvarez, Julian Araujo, Hugo Ariano, Justin Von Stieg, and Bradford Jameson.
That all makes sense, though.
It does. And with the homegrown spots as well, they don't count against the salary cap anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Yes.
Up to a certain amount, they don't count against the salary cap. There is a cap on that. So
not Araujo.
But yeah.
Araujo counts.
Araujo absolutely counts. Well, if he was put on the senior, is he put on the senior team?
He just said reserve.
Okay, so reserve. Okay, good. Okay. I have it listed.
Yeah.
I
read your notes. Read your show notes, Josh.
Why would I do that?
That's why you make them.
No. Let's just guess and guess wildly. So anyway, the LA Galaxy go on and sign Diedie Traore. The 20-year-old was signed to an LA Galaxy 2 contract after attending an open tryout. He basically traveled all the way from Paris to Los Angeles. The Galaxy noted in their release that was 5,642 miles.
Wow.
I know it's a long way. It's 11 hours.
Yeah.
It's
I
not
think we're aware Paris is not close. It
feels
Paris,
close.
Texas.
Is it Paris, California?
All the way from, there you go. That's also true.
And none of those are close, by the way.
No.
It's a long drive to Paris. But he flew all the way from Paris to Los Angeles to attend an open tryout for an LA Galaxy 2 team. He won a spot there. He joined the LA Galaxy Academy U19s for the remainder of that 2018 Academy season. And then in the middle of the summer, July 25th, was signed in 2018 to an LA Galaxy 2 contract where he made 13 appearances, 11 starts, and recorded 5 assists, which was the leader on that team. This is a guy who comes from FC Metz's France Academy, who has put out guys like Emmanuel Adebayor, Sadio Mane, Pires, Pjanic, Saha.
So all good players.
All great players.
It's a good pedigree to come from. And what a story.
It's a cool story.
I think when they announce these open tryouts, I always look at it, a little, questionable, because I think this is a publicity stunt. Do they really expect to find someone who's really going to make a squad? And you think maybe in Southern California, I guess there's a chance that could happen. But the fact that he traveled from France, put it on the line, and that he actually truly won a spot, it wasn't a stunt. This is someone who has talent and has ability, and it's a dream come true. So the fact that that's a story that the Galaxy can now say that when we have our open tryouts, there is a path for you to make it to the senior team and play along the likes of Jonathan Dos Santos and Zlatan Ibrahimovic. And so I think this is a good thing. This is a good thing from the Galaxy perspective. It's good PR. He's a talented player, and it's going to help on all fronts.
Let's see. Dennis DeClosa says, Diedie joined the LA Galaxy organization after being identified at an LA Galaxy 2 open tryout. He progressed quickly through the LA Galaxy Academy and Galaxy 2, demonstrating his quality and commitment. We have enjoyed witnessing Diedie's development within our club and look forward to helping him further grow his talent. That's
Amen.
It's just there's something about the way that DTK is able to convey his belief in the academy system, in young players, that is like opening a window after a rainstorm and the fresh air just hits you in the face. Like, yes. There was a place when I was in Hawaii. I went with my wife. We went to Hawaii, and I wanted to see where Charles Lindbergh had been buried, which is on Maui.
That is the most it's pilot. What's such? I was going to say nautical, but it's not nautical.
Aviation nerd.
Aviation. There you go.
Aviation.
That's the most aviation nerd thing I think I've heard you say.
I knew we were going to be close, so it was like we might as well stop. So you go to this little cemetery that is at like this southern point that is like it's just nothing, right? I mean, you go there and you're like, oh, okay, this is it. And you go into this cemetery. Creepy place, by the way. Just super creepy.
Really? Yeah.
Middle of the day.
Go figure.
Middle of the day, super creepy place. But you stand there, right? And you look, and it's at a point that just looks south. And if you look south, if you look on a map from where that point is, there is nothing for thousands and thousands and thousands of miles. It's like right down the Pacific Ocean, right down the middle of it. And so there's just nothing. And the air hits you, and you realize the air hasn't hit anything else for a very, very, very long time.
You're the first one to catch.
You're the first one to catch that fresh air, and it just smells just a little bit different. It's a little bit cleaner. That's what DTK
is. That
a long way to go to say that DTK
is literally a breath of fresh air.
Is a breath of fresh air. There you go.
and it is funny the way those comments go, because of everything DTK said about the academy and how he wants to connect the academy to to the second team, to the first team. When he says we've loved to watch his development, he's been here since December. And we're like, yeah, DTK, the academy's taken care of. Traore, he brought him up through the academy. Just the way he carried, you're right. There's a different air. And I'll mention that I was at the home opener last weekend. The players warming up, Valdecantos on the field, the stadium there is a different feel about this team. I know that's such a silly thing to say, but I think you can tell that the big boys are in charge now.
Yeah. They're not messing around.
Yeah.
This is not, they didn't decide, this isn't guys who didn't know what they were doing aren't coming into it.
There's purpose.
They're in charge. And Valdecantos, by the way, gets to sit at the very
he was on the field most of the time,
like right at the number one. And yeah, he stands up. He's there. He
made me nervous. He was pacing, and I was like, I don't know if he smokes, but he definitely carries himself like a smoker.
He's in too good a shape to smoke, though. But maybe he's like an angry smoker.
You wouldn't be surprised. Like the South American that he smokes and still happens to be in great shape. It would not shock me.
Yeah, I could see it. I could absolutely see it. So anyway, so here's the interesting part about, again, more interesting stuff from the Traore, acquisition. In order to sign Diedie Traore, the LA Galaxy had to acquire an international slot from Columbus. They specifically in the press release announced that they needed, in order to sign, here, you know what? I can just get it, because this is some crazy stuff. This usually doesn't happen.
This is MLS funny business going on here.
LA Galaxy signed defender Diedie Traore. This is the transaction. So at the end of, at the bottom of every press release, there's a transaction summary, basically what happened. So it says LA Galaxy signed defender Diedie Traore. The Galaxy traded $100,000 in general allocation money this year and $75,000 in targeted allocation money next year to the Columbus Crew SC for a 2019 international roster slot expiring December 31st, 2019, in order to sign Traore.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Let's go over international slots just for a second. The LA Galaxy have 9 slots open, and they are currently using 8 with Traore. That means
Joao is coming back.
No.
Okay, sorry.
Got carried away. I know the hammer wants to show out. He's not coming.
Shut me down.
No. It means that they already have something earmarked for the 8th spot.
Yeah.
Because you don't need to announce that you get an international slot if you already had an international slot, but you don't. So there is something in the brews. Something's coming up. We know it's coming.
Yeah, and we knew that when you broke the news that, or the listener actually, found out that we had that extra spot. You don't get an extra spot when you have one unless something's happening. And so obviously this week with the news of Joe Corona coming in, and I'm sure we'll touch on that. That's not going to take up international slots, so someone else must be in the works as well. And with how quickly that Corona move happened, you would imagine that once we hear a name and it starts to get a little bit of heat, a little bit of traction, once that international news comes out, I think it's going to move quickly.
Yeah, I would think, and we have been theorizing on this show for quite a while now, that the LA Galaxy would target a central midfielder, Joe Corona.
There it is.
And then they would also be targeting a defender. I stand by that. I think the defender is still very much in the cards for the LA Galaxy. I don't know that it is a defender that has been named or looked at so far in any of the rumors.
So it's either a defender that's been named or
unnamed. It's an unnamed
got it
defender.
Figured out.
He will have no name on the back of his jersey because he's unnamed. So there's I believe that it really feels like the Galaxy will be targeting a defender. I know that people are saying, hey, they also need a forward. You're right, they do. They just don't have one right now, and they're gonna move midfielders.
They have one.
They're gonna move midfielders.
They have a pretty
around.
big forward. I'd argue that, but I understand the sentiment.
Yeah, the whole problem, and so that here, let's get to just a little bit of the rumors that there's the Iranian guy,
that was a
Adnan, right?
It was funny.
Adnan.
This is why you come to Corner of the Galaxy, because we got all the facts here.
We know everything.
Iraqi defender.
Yeah, Iraqi
25-year-old
left back.
Sure.
Yes, he is. I'm telling you. So he's a left back. That ain't happening. Ali Adnan. See?
Ali Adnan. There it is. And then
room.
someone had mentioned Adnan Januzaj got thrown in there. I think that's because, he has a similar name. So who knows? It's wacky season.
And then we had Rami, right, as well. Or Rami,
Yep.
however you say it, with Pamela Anderson.
Adil Rami, yep.
Yeah, that dude, he ain't coming either.
I wish he did. He's got great facial hair. Galaxy need a defender with good facial hair.
He looks scary.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you right now, that the Galaxy are going to be staying in the Americas. It feels like that's their sweet spot.
You only have so many international spots, and like you said, and the type of player that they're bringing in, if the Panda's to be believed.
Yes.
There's only one place they're looking.
Yeah, well, and that makes sense because that's where they have their fingers, right? I mean, it's
That's
like,
where
they've
they've scouted. That's their network.
Where do I know players? Oh, from here. That's where I'm going to go. That's why you saw the Galaxy go after Europe for so long.
Yep.
You know, Jovan Kirovski.
That's where he was.
That's where he was. And the LA Galaxy, don't have really a scouting department right now. It's not anything that I think that they've built up. What it really is Guillermo Barros-Schelotto. It's the entire coaching staff, and it's Dennis Teclosa.
Yeah.
That's who you have right
the
now.
Connections to Mexico right there.
Yeah, Mexico, and then South America, and you have to leave North America in there as well. Whenever you look at it, the Mexico
You
connection.
said the Americas.
The Americas. That's where they're going to be focusing. So anyway, so if you look at that, that's where it is. The admin one that doesn't add up in my mind. The other one, the French one, the Ramy. He's not coming.
Yeah, that one's odd.
The Giancarlo Gonzalez one is the one that makes the most sense.
That one seems plausible.
But it's hard. It's not an easy because he has to go through allocation.
Yeah.
Okay, because he was transferred out by the Columbus Crew, which means that they don't hold his rights anymore. But if he comes back in,
if only the Galaxy had some money that they made to pay for an allocation spot.
They could. I know.
If only they had that.
But you have to convince Toronto that they want 11th. Right? Because whenever you change,
you have to
swap the spots, right? So it doesn't
not a bump.
It's not like, oh, hey, let me pay you just to jump in front of the line. No. You have to take my spot and go back to 11.
That price increases,
It does. Or what you have to do is you have to go whoever's next in line and be like, hey, Toronto, do you want this guy? And they're like, nah, we don't want him. And then you go to the next people like, hey, do you want this guy? And they're like, nah, we don't want him. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, this is the stuff this is the stuff that Bruce pulled at one point. And tried. This is where he complained once that there needed to be more men and less boys in the boardrooms.
I was going to say, is this like a wink and a handshake type of thing? Because I would 100% tell the Galaxy, no, we don't want this guy, and then take him. Yeah,
that's what happened.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that was with Sebastian Lletget. Whenever that eventually came around at one point, I think that was no. Who else was it?
It's like the Galaxy
it was Sasha Kleshtin.
Oh, yes.
Sasha Kleshtin.
Yes.
And the Galaxy traded Kofi Apare.
Yep.
And so that was that whole thing. So anyway, so that's sort of where we sit with that. Now, the Galaxy, like I said, targeting a defender, that's sort of your rumor rundown. I'll tell you that there's one in there that makes sense. The rest of them don't make sense. So, stop bugging me about it. I don't like some of the crap right now that's coming out on Twitter is just that.
You know who would be a good backup forward?
Who?
Pato.
Brazilian
Pato. He's rehabbing an injury. We could probably get him on a free transfer.
Here's the thing. If Pato comes here, you don't have a job anymore because it's
true.
Pato and Pato every day. That's just I'll quit my job.
It's in the bylaws.
I'll quit my job, my real job, and just do this for 7 days a week. 100%. I have no problems with that. So anyway, so the Galaxy's trying to we got through the international slots. We told you a little bit about the rumors. Now we get to the LA Galaxy signing midfielder Joe Corona. Joe Corona.
You guys missed the whole pre-show rehearsal of that.
We were totally practicing.
That did not go as planned.
Yeah.
I blame myself.
I told you, the worse it is, the better it is. So anyway, so the LA Galaxy go after Joe Corona. This was a deal that happened quickly. Heard about it on Tuesday. I know that was before anybody else heard about it on Thursday, but we were tracing things down and trying to knock everything down. So anyway,
if you're in the super secret text thread, you may have heard about it.
You may have heard about it a little bit. But anyway, so Joe Corona coming on a targeted allocation money deal. We do not know what the salary is, but we know that salary is somewhere between $530,001 and $1.5 million.
$1, Drew.
$1. So, that's where his salary is. I don't know what a good range for him is. I would imagine that it's probably less than what Ola Kamara was making. And so really you could see, I would think anywhere between 650 and 800. And people are going to say that's way too high, but in TAM reasons, that seems about right.
And especially when you consider they didn't pay a transfer, that's where you maybe make up that difference. You don't pay for that, so maybe the salary is a little bit higher because of it.
Yeah, listen, I mean, here's the thing is that, so if you're trying in your head to replace players whenever, you transfer somebody out, what happens?
It's usually comparable.
You take Corona and you look at sort of what you think he's going to make, and it's going to be less than what I think Kamara was making, but it'll be in that range. But that also means he's taking the Kamara slot. So which still means the LA Galaxy have $1.5 million in TAM, which is what the Zlatan spot was whenever he moved to designated player. So if you're looking at what you are going to get for the next player or possibly two players, Galaxy have enough roster room. It's all about trying to figure out that salary cap and whether or not you can absorb two $530K hits.
Which technically They have room for it.
You would expect them to. It's not a guarantee, And whenever we say 1.5 million, this really gets in the weeds. That means that basically you're paying a player down to like a minimum, which isn't really possible either. You can't pay them all the way down to zero.
Yeah.
But you can diminish their hit underneath the 530. So you can. There's money there. There's still tons of money for the LA Galaxy. There's still roster flexibility. There's lots of things that the LA Galaxy can do right now. So, I mean, sky's the limit. I really think a defender is incoming here in the next couple weeks. I don't think they're going to wait too long. Remember, the transfer window stays open until May 7th. Yeah. So the LA Galaxy have until May 7th to find somebody and land somebody. But with Joe Corona coming in, he's a 28-year-old central midfielder, and he was born in Los Angeles. Yeah. He played at San Diego State University with Dan Steres.
Yeah, it's a nice little connection there, a little bit of a homecoming.
The Dan Steres and Joe Corona played whenever Steres was a sophomore and Corona was a freshman. Corona played 1 year and then bailed to Tijuana.
Yep.
Yeah. And so this was a guy the LA Galaxy have had their eyes on for a while and actually went out and made sure that they put him on their discovery list.
I was going to say, this is someone that rumors go back. I remember when I first heard of it, I started to go back. I was like, we've heard this rumor before. And as recently as 2016, I think he was rumored to be coming to the Galaxy. So there's been a relationship with the club there. And so this isn't, you say a player coming from Mexico, maybe DTK has his handprints on this, but also there's been a relationship here coming from Los Angeles, connections to the Galaxy already. So it's a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
Well, here's again, it's not the genius. It's just using the resources that are at your fingertips. You go and look and you see DTK looks at the discovery list and goes, Joe Corona's right there.
He's from Los Angeles.
He's from Los Angeles. He doesn't take up an international slot.
Yeah. Smart.
Why don't we go out and get him? Because we have his rights, so we don't need to do anything except just get him to play. Do you want to play? And Joe today, talking to Larry Morgan, not on Twitter, Larry Morgan on VHS, which is a joke that eventually I have to explain, but we won't get there yet. But Larry Morgan, not on Twitter, was out there talking to the players today. A bunch of great updates. Go to cornerofthegalaxy.com and read his notebook. Quite honestly, it's, I think, some of the best journalism surrounding the LA Galaxy in terms of just pure updated knowledge, because it's like 3 or 4 stories, and each little bit is like, I needed to know that.
Yep.
That was important
Larry
too.
does 100% do a great job with what he brings to the table.
So go check that out. But anyway, he was talking today, and he said it was an easy decision. Joe Corona is basically saying it was an easy decision for me. As soon as they were approaching me, they're like, do you want to do it? And he's like, yeah, I'm in.
He was saying yes before they finished.
Yeah, he was like, yeah, I'm in. Let's do this. And so he shows up. Today was his first day of training, and I'll tell you right now, the LA Galaxy are expecting him to start on Saturday against FC Dallas. So
he's not coming off an injury. He wasn't riding the bench. He doesn't need to get fit. It seems like he's ready to go. And by the way, at Galaxy Profile on Instagram, Joe Corona is going to be a great Instagram follow.
Yes.
Great social media, great Twitter. He already made fun of Sebastian Lletget. Seems to be making friends with Boateng. You can tell he's going to be one of these players who's going to be a fun follow on social media, if that's your thing.
That's it. Again, at Galaxy Profile. We had quite a little Inception thing going on there.
Unfortunately, the show had to actually start. We couldn't keep going back and forth.
We could, but you should head over to our Instagram stories, either Galaxy Podcast or Galaxy Profile. I think you'll enjoy what we put together there. I mean,
it's good content. Continent.
Like Antarctica.
It's a live show.
Yeah, that's good. Way to save it. That's some good pod. Anyway, so that's where it goes. Now, where does Joe Corona play? And I do absolutely plan on finding just the little clip of the drum like sort of solo in between, the Joe Corona. I'm gonna play that constantly. That is a thing we're going to do.
Nice little bass groove there.
Yeah, we'll get it. We're gonna get it. So where does he play? And that's sort of been the question. And I know lots of people have sort of said, well, first of all, why do we need another midfielder?
If you watched the game last week,
you need another midfielder.
The midfield, that was the hole. Is when you build teams and they say, well, if you're going to build a team from scratch, where do you start? Well, you start on the spine. You need good goalkeeper, good central defender, good midfielder, and then a striker. And the Galaxy have the striker. They have the goalkeeper. Bingham played great. They have central defenders seem to be there, but in the midfield there was a big hole last week. And so Corona, I think, fits in nicely in the middle. And I remember having this conversation. Well, is he a number 10? Is he going to play that role? And
yes.
You don't need to be a number 10. You just need to play one on TV.
Yeah,
you just need to do a serviceable job.
Well, here's the thing. He was asked about it today. Where is his best position? He goes, I'm comfortable at the 10, at the 6, at the 8. He goes, I can play on the wing. So really,
he's a utility guy.
He's a utility, but he's a good utility guy.
Yes.
I mean, he can play a lot of those positions.
He can play them well. He's done that with a men's national team.
I think you're going to see a very fluid midfield with Sebastian Lletget, with Joe Corona, with Jonathan Dos Santos. I think there's going to be constant interchange between those because they can all play a 6, they can all play an 8, most of them can play a 10.
Yeah,
I mean, there's no reason that you can't just stagger and take your time with that.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing because when Jonathan wants to move forward, he moves forward, and you're going to have a nice little triangle here. If Lletget wants to go out to the wing, where sometimes that's where he tends to maneuver, get himself into those positions, then he'll drift there, and then the midfield, will still be covered. So I think this is a good thing. The fact that they're so interchangeable. We talked about defensive midfielders, and we have too many of them. Where are we going to play them? But I think Dos Santos, Corona, and Lletget, you have those three. You can plug them in, and that's a real nice midfield, and you can be comfortable with how you're going to possess the ball and the passes that they're going to be able to connect.
LA Galactico in our chat room says Corona goes between Coors Light and Modelo.
Wow, so easy.
It's just
sometimes
just line it
the
up.
easiest ones are right there.
You just line up. How much is a Corona at?
$15.50.
Is it? No, it's not.
It's in that neighborhood.
Is it really?
I want to say. I'll fact check that.
I feel so out of touch. I don't.
You don't sit amongst
drink.
the people.
I don't. I sit in the press box in my ivory tower. I stare down and then laugh at all of it. But they don't give us beer in the press box.
That's
obviously,
also true.
We don't, and we don't drink while we're working. So, there's all sorts of downsides to it.
Yeah.
But
the downside of not paying $16 for a beer.
Yeah, I mean, there is something to that. No, so you look at that, and I certainly saw that Atlanta was out there lowering concession prices again.
That seems to be the trend. Eventually, maybe not in Southern California.
Yeah,
it's not going to catch on here.
$11 is what they're saying. $11.
$11
is that like the small one?
Say you went to the right stand. I got to find where you guys are sitting.
Yeah,
Come find me.
Yeah, bring me a beer. That's for Eric, not for me. I'm working.
He's a professional. I'm a professional.
So anyway, that's what it is. I'll tell you right now, and I will go over what I think is going to be a projected lineup for the LA Galaxy with the FC Dallas. I think you're going to be sort of surprised at where they're able to line Corona up and just the interchange. And again, I'm going to go a little bit with Bruce Arena here, which is a formation is just a starting spot at the beginning of the game, and once the whistle blows, that's kind of all out the window.
These are just guidelines, man.
These are just sort of how we go.
We're just floating in the ether, man. What if we're just a speck of salt on someone's hand, man?
This is good. Along with the fly, this is really good potting tonight.
We're getting deep.
That's how it goes. So anyway, I think you're going to see a lot of interchange. I think he's going to be a central midfielder. I think that when everybody is healthy, that you would look at a midfield of Antuna on the left, Alessandrini on the right. You would have Lletget and Corona and Jonathan Dos Santos in the middle, and however you want to stack that, that's
sexy. A great looking team. That's the frustrating thing with these injuries with Alessandrini and with Lletget, maybe not being 100%. That midfield and forward, man, that's a great looking attacking, quadrant.
Right.
I mean, again, the live show, my brain just decided to stop working now.
It's fine.
Yeah, but when you have those players moving forward, that's great. And that's really the unfortunate thing is you make these signings. It seems like the places are there. Now, if they can get healthy, and we don't want to go down that road, if healthy, they can do, this or that, because then they're never going to get healthy.
2013, like when they were injured, and when they're healthy, if everything happens.
It's going to come down to GBS, the way he's going to arrange these players in times of need. That's how we're going to see how they do.
Yeah, and it's about building depth as well. I mean, certainly the Galaxy have a zillion central midfielders, but, there's also a zillion central midfielders that are injured right now.
Yeah, so you need them.
And you can see, and people are going to say, what about strikers and everything else? We're going to talk about Zlatan and where he fits in and whether or not he'll be traveling to Dallas. But if Zlatan's not available, what are you going to do? Well, there are some midfielders you can kind of convert into forwards, and so that's what you're going to expect. So the depth in midfield still helps support that striker. Now, they could go out and recall, Bradford Jameson if they wanted to. I don't think they want to. I think they really want to give him the chance to be what he needs to be at San Antonio.
I think that's the best move for Bradford, and the best move for the Galaxy is to let him develop elsewhere. I think bringing him back to play for an injured Zlatan and then get bench time, I don't think that's going to benefit them, because then they're not going to send him back to San Antonio if they do recall him. So that's kind of an unfortunate thing. But are we going to talk about Zlatan? About who's going to go up front? We'll save it.
Let's see. Let's go. Let's talk now.
Okay.
Let's talk about injuries now, real quick.
Okay.
I'll go run through injuries, and then we can go line up under the FC Dallas thing.
Perfect.
I don't want to. The tease you want to draw. We don't want. We want to draw you into the podcast.
It's been a while. Been out for a few weeks.
Into the podcast. See, in newspaper, this is what I have problems with the Panda all the time. The Panda sits there and says, oh well, if it's the big story, it goes up front. I'm like, no, that's in writing.
Yeah.
That's not how we do that. No. You want to draw it in and not let you guys lose any faith. But anyway, injuries. Sebastian Lletget with the hamstring. He is likely to play coming up against Dallas. In fact, I would put him as likely to start on Saturday. Perry Kitchen out with the ankle. Romain Alessandrini out with the right hamstring. He's not going to play in Dallas, and he's probably out for the next 2 games, which means Dallas and then Minnesota. Yeah. But I would expect that they're slow playing that, and then it's actually probably going to be closer to 3 or 4 games that he's out.
The way he went down, and he wears his emotions on his sleeve. You saw on his face that's not a 1 week. He'll be back. When you go out that early in the game, that's a serious injury, and that's going to take its time. So I agree. I think it'll be 3-4 games before we see him again.
Yeah. You have Juninho, who, for as far as I know, is still out with a knee. I haven't been hearing him come back yet.
Yeah,
so
that's concerning.
He's a depth signing.
But then you need him for depth.
Yeah, but he's not there right now. Yeah, I know. He's not there right now. JDS, Jonathan Dos Santos had the tightness in his hip that we were all saying. He'll play. It doesn't seem like that's bothering him.
Yeah,
there doesn't
he plays
seem like
through it.
Yeah, he'll be fine. And then you have Zlatan Ibrahimovic, Big Z out there with the Achilles right now. And I am personally, after hearing Guillermo Barros-Schelotto say that I don't know if he's going to travel, I would personally say that he's not traveling.
Nope.
And so not to count on him. And quite honestly, this early in the season, why would you force it?
Exactly. This is not the type of injury that you want to rush back. Playing WebMD a little bit, Googling some timetables for Achilles injuries. If it's just like a stage 1, that's like a 4 to 6 weeks. So
right.
If it's starting to bother him, obviously we don't know if it's that, even to be considered. If it's just, it's bothering him, that it's not necessarily a strain or tendonitis or whatever you want to call it. But you want to be cautious. I think 2-3 weeks is maybe what you want to give him, because if he plays on it and he tears the Achilles, that's a season-ending injury. That's surgery,
and you're
6+ months, and at his age, who knows? That could be a career-ending injury. So you 100% game 2, it's not worth it.
Yeah, so you take the time. Yeah, I mean these are pretty much locked in. The only sort of question marks that you have is does Sebastian Lletget feel good enough on Friday to then start on Saturday? The Galaxy flying out on Friday. Does Zlatan Ibrahimovic suddenly feel perfect and fine on Friday, and therefore slides out?
He's playing mind games so they don't use his name to sell tickets in Dallas.
Yeah, let's see how that goes. But anyway, so that's where it is. All right, now let's get to some predictions. Let's go to 538, because you and I love 538.
First game in, I'm curious to see how this works.
First game in, where did the LA Galaxy sort of sit? I'll tell you right now, they have them basically in the middle of the pack as they're trying to predict this 2019 season. They have their defense as really bad again, and I think that you have to say that the Galaxy made at least one improvement, bringing in Polenta, and possibly 2 improvements by moving Shelvik out to the left.
Yeah.
So there's some change in there. I don't expect that the Galaxy's defense, which they're expecting them to have a defensive rating of 1.8. I think that's giving up 1.8 goals per game, basically, a projection.
1.5.
And scoring 1.5, which would give them they're expecting a goal differential of +1 whenever that all gets said and done. But that's not good enough to be where they are.
Yeah. When you look at other teams around the league, goals for, they're top of the league, but goals against is where they're in the red. And so when you look at this, according to 538, it has them ranked fifth in the West. And so I think when you look at preseason,
that's not a horrible
whatever the secret sauce that they're using in 538, that seems to be probably about where we expect the Galaxy to land at the end of the season. Yes, everyone's excited. They got to win, but when you look at the performance, they maybe are fortunate to walk out of there with 3 points after their home opener. So I think 5th in the West is a reasonable goal. So 538 is onto something here. And the other thing is, last season when we kept looking at these, 538 was very generous to the Galaxy. Every week to week, they had them favored, or when they were away, they give them the benefit of the doubt. And they're not doing that this year.
Yeah.
So it's kind of swinging the other direction. So I'd much rather have 538 rank them lower and have the Galaxy outperform than have 538 rank them high and then be disappointed by the results.
The LA Galaxy right now, according to 538, have a 69% chance of making the playoffs.
Shout out to you, Cosmo.
They have a 9% chance of a first-round bye. Supporter Shield, a 4% chance, and to win MLS Cup, according to 538 right now, a 3% chance. The New York Red Bull, currently in number 1 with a 15% chance to win MLS Cup.
Lock it in.
Atlanta at 12%, even though they lost to DC United, and people are panicking.
Well, and that's the thing. Atlanta lost to DC United. Sporting Kansas City lost to those other guys.
Yep.
And so, but Sporting Kansas City still ranked number 1. Atlanta still ranked number 2 in the East. So it'll all work itself out.
Yeah, Brian in the chat room says PSG lost their match with a 97% chance of winning.
Yeah. So it means nothing.
Until it means something. It means nothing until it does, as they like to say.
World famous.
As
you should put that on a
like
shirt.
to-
That should be the next shirt.
That should be the next
It
shirt.
is until it isn't.
It is. It means nothing until it means something. All right, LA Galaxy power rankings, because after one game, what is more important than finding out where the LA Galaxy are currently ranked in Major League Soccer? I'll tell you that MLSsoccer.com had the LA Galaxy ranked at number 7 overall in the league. Okay,
Not bad.
overall. That's not bad. ESPN had them ranked number 10 overall. Okay.
Yeah, we're homers, though. I think that might be accurate.
I feel like
Maybe they're number 8.
Seven,
Maybe they're somewhere in the middle.
7 feels a little high, maybe, in
10
terms of the supporter shield.
Yeah.
By the way, the LA Galaxy currently 5th, I think, in the supporter shield.
Let's not reference the supporter shield after game 1. Come on.
You know I'm going to
we're
reference.
We're better than that.
But no, I mean, you look at the LA Galaxy, you look at the rest of the league, I mean, there's going to be surprises. Everybody had Toronto FC repeating after they just dominated, and then they fell flat on their butts last year.
And Toronto does not look to have it together this year.
No, not yet. Atlanta United stumbles out of the blocks against DC United. You had a crazy snow game,
That was insane.
with Portland and Colorado.
Yeah,
I mean,
where's Jermaine Jones when you need him?
you just throw that completely out the window, though, because it means absolutely nothing. That game is completely useless as a first one. FC Dallas drew with New England. We'll talk about that a little bit.
It's a bit surprising, especially at home.
New coach.
Yep.
That team is different this year. That is a different team.
This is not your mama's FC Dallas.
This is not your mama's
There we go.
FC
Let's
Dallas.
spice it up.
There you go. I mean, that's where you're seeing this stuff. It's just it's unknown. I mean, Philadelphia looks like they could possibly be a better team, and they didn't win.
They didn't look good.
No.
Well, look at Toronto.
Yeah.
Look what you were expecting from Toronto and what Toronto actually did.
So, and then, even in this 538 predictions, they have Colorado as the lowest ranked team. And Colorado's going to be,
This isn't your mama's Colorado.
I think it's a top 5, top 6 team in the West.
Yeah.
And I think they're good. They looked good.
Yeah.
They looked good against the Galaxy in the preseason.
That's, again, if you take the preseason to mean anything, the way they looked against the Galaxy, this is going to be a different Colorado team. But while we're talking about way too early, here's my favorite way too early.
Yes.
The magic number.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Magic number for the LA Galaxy is now at 98.
98 points?
So 98 points.
And
we either need to get 98 points or someone else needs to drop them, and we're in the playoffs. So
there you go.
That's my favorite.
The magic number is a fun one. There's a website, I think it's on Reddit on MLS, that is doing like or MLS like domination or civilization, basically. So whenever you go and play another team, you get to steal their territory
Oh, man,
if you
is this
beat
like
them.
Risk?
Yeah, it is. So the Galaxy took over Chicago's territory, right? So
wow.
the Chicago area of the United
now-
States is now painted in LA Galaxy colors, right?
Oh, I like that.
And so it's like at the end of the year, you'll sort of be able to see who has the most
who
territory.
has taken over the world.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
That's
That's
good stuff.
great.
It's fun. It's fun to watch. All right, so then we go on. We've done that. I mean, it's a little early. It's 12 minutes. I don't know if we can sort of string it out for the rest of it, but
Filibuster.
filibuster. All right, so this is what we're gonna do. We'll play a game. We'll play a game. It's called Intro the FC Dallas Game with awesome music behind it.
No.
You don't get practice for this. I don't.
I have to do it?
Yes. Oh, you're gonna do it. I'm gonna do it.
No.
Yes. We're gonna play a
prepared.
game. Don't worry. I have the music queued up. I'll go first just to give you some chance to think about it. So I will do my best intro for the FC Dallas game, and then we'll go to, and then the Hammer will get a chance, and we'll see. I
am not prepared for this. This is gonna fail spectacularely on the live feed.
Just let's go like 10, 15 seconds. We don't have to do the whole thing, and then maybe we do.
I was gonna try to go like for a 4-minute monologue.
No.
Acting.
No, Jimmy Fallon. No. All right. Okay. So I'll start. So here we go. Josh's first chance at. And by the way, I've been doing these for a while, but I really screwed up the first one this year, so there's a good chance I'll screw this one up too.
Good times.
All right, here we go. Josh goes first here on this one, doing to our awesome music previewing the FC Dallas game. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, here I go. Your LA Galaxy travel to face off against FC Dallas on Saturday. What's the date of the game? March 9th.
I'm gonna win this battle. This is good.
Oh wait, I want a do-over. Do I get a do-over?
You get a do-over. One mulligan.
Okay, one mulligan. Okay, here. I'm gonna try it again. Here we go. I have to kill it first. Here we go. Your LA Galaxy travel to take on FC Dallas in the first away match of the season on March 9th, a 12:30 p.m. kickoff time against FC Dallas at Toyota Stadium. Can the very injured LA Galaxy get a huge result? And remember, weird things happen in Dallas. All right, that was my
just a short little sting.
Yeah,
All
I was gonna do a short little sting. All right, are you?
I think I'm ready.
I'm getting booed already. So let's see. We'll kill it. We'll restart it. Okay, are you ready? Here we go. In 3, 2, and 1.
Saturday, March 9th, the LA Galaxy head to Frisco, Texas to take on FC Dallas. Despite what their social media may be telling you, there's no fake news here. Joe Corona will be making his debut as the LA Galaxy look to win one more time to get 6 points to get that magic number down to 95. This Saturday, LA Galaxy, FC Dallas. Be there.
Okay, I lost. I'm already out. I'm already out.
I oversold that one.
You did fine. No, that was good. That's what it needs.
All right.
You need to be like,
Monster try. I do want the Monster Jam.
Sunday. Yeah, everybody's like, bench Josh. Hammer gets to do it from now on. Yeah, okay. So that was a clear winner. We'll play again. Don't worry.
All right. Yeah. Oh, I'm in now.
I'm not going to tell you when we're doing it though.
Yeah, I like that. You caught me off guard.
Oh yeah, everybody's. It's not even close. All right. So anyway, the LA Galaxy traveling to, as you said, Frisco, Texas, which looks like a rainy Frisco, Texas, by the way.
What else is new? Yeah. We'll fit right in.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little crazy with the weather. And by the way, I was serious whenever I said weird things happen in Dallas.
It's always funky.
That was one of the games was like the long delay where they had lightning and there was like a 3-hour delay and they came back and played and Brek Shea was playing for FC Dallas and crossed a ball that caught the wind and fell into the goal for a Dallas win.
So weird things happen where Brek Shea goes. I think that's the new rule.
DC United. Oh my, or not DC United.
Atlanta.
But, Atlanta. Yeah, but that was the whole thing. It was crazy. The LA Galaxy have not beaten FC Dallas since August 15th of 2015. That was a two-way, 2-1 win away at FC Dallas. Robbie Keane scored 2 goals in 5 minutes. Giovanni Dos Santos flubbed a chance and then passed the ball to Robbie Keane. Steven Gerrard was running to the back post on this one. This is some good stuff. I went back and watched the highlights of this one. If you want to really go ahead, the Galaxy defense collapsed on the first goal because Dallas scored, and that was a collapse by Omar Gonzalez, who did a bad tackle. And if you saw it, you would remember this tackle immediately. Didn't happen. Then AJ De La Garza tried to toe poke the ball away, but poked it like past Donovan Ricketts, and then the FC Dallas attacker went around and it was just great.
This is Galaxy history live,
right? It's a lot of fun. So anyway, I went back and watched that, but that was the last time they won. The Galaxy won 0-0, FC Dallas 0-0-1, so they have the draw. It was a 1-1 draw against the New England Revolution. They were heavily favored in this game, FC Dallas. They came out really, I guess, not flat, but they didn't look that dangerous.
Like they have in years past. They didn't seem to have that spark.
They have some individual talents that are amazing.
The fly is
back. Nope, didn't get it.
This show is off the rails. It's going to be a fun one to listen back to.
I know. This one may never see the light of day. I might just hit delete and dump. You don't know.
After that beautiful intro that I just did?
I don't remember it. I'm going to edit that out. If you go to the podcast, it's not there. It's not there.
That's the problem when you're number 2. You don't get to make those calls.
I'm gonna win. But anyway, they didn't look. I'll tell you, the goal that they scored was Barrios getting a ball and then dribbling the whole field.
It was fluky.
It was a long way. So they have the counterattack. They're quick on the counterattack. That's going to cause the Galaxy problems.
That's a problem and you look at the way they lined up. They lined up in a 4-3-3, and if you look at the way the Galaxy's defense and unfortunately how their midfield was, that's something that's going to cause problems. And I think Barrios, he is someone that's going to cause some trouble. They still have, who's the...
Which one? Baji? Dominic Baji?
Yes. Yeah. Baji's the other guy who's dangerous up front.
Mosquera's there as well.
When he was with Colorado, I remember he used to kind of give the Galaxy some fits. So those are the people that you need to watch out for. So I think it's something where if you think the New England Revs are the New England Revs like they've always been, you say, well, they were able to manage a point out of there. I think even the way the Galaxy is hobbled, I think you think back to a game like Vancouver last season where they went in with a defensive game plan, look to get out of there with a point. I think that's something that the Galaxy should look to do.
I mean,
play a little defensive.
They're injured.
Look to get a goal. Maybe, Pontius can make some magic happen, which we've seen him do before, and get a goal, sit back. Maybe you're going to absorb one and be able to walk out of there with a point. I could see them getting out of there with a draw.
I was talking to a good friend of the show, obviously, John Rojas, about what we were thinking about this game and sort of how it was. And I'd watched the highlights from New England. I sort of looked at it and I said, Dallas seems like a small team. They're not big. And so the Galaxy need to use their physicality.
Yeah, Barrios is 5'2".
Yeah, so the Galaxy defense has Dan Steres, who's a taller guy. You get Diego Polenta, who's a tall guy. Shelvik, tall guy.
Let's say Polenta, not just tall,
like big.
Yeah, he throws his weight around.
So use that physicality.
Yeah.
And if you're the Galaxy, you pick up yellow cards and you do what you need to do. You're like, okay, you get the ball, I'm going to foul you. Make it painful for them, because if they get out on the counter and in space, the Galaxy don't have a ton of speed to be able to back that up right now. I'll say that with who I imagine is going to be Boateng and Antuna on the wings, they do have some speed to cover.
Speed on the outside.
But not on the inside, and that's where Dallas is going to look to attack.
And you don't look at Boateng and Antuna and say, well, those are defensive. Those are going to be big defensive helpers. That's not where their speed is going to be used. And it's unfortunate that Zlatan's going to be out, because I remember last season against Dallas, their defense had no answers for him.
No.
I mean, he wreaked havoc back there. So their defense, there's definitely ways to break through. So I think even though with the injuries, Corona's going to want to impress. Lletget is going to be back, hopefully, and doing well. I'm a little optimistic, but I'm going to be cautious because, again, it's a road trip. Weird things happen in Dallas, so I think you can be cautious. But there's no reason why they can't walk out of there with a point, because, again, this isn't the same FC Dallas that's dominated the league in the past few seasons.
Yeah, it's going to be, again, I think that if you look at the defense, they still got Matt Hedges back there. They still have Hollingshead back there, who you're sort of like, okay, those guys are pretty good. Cannon on the outside is also, Reggie Cannon on defense is a good player as well. Did you get him? Did you get the fly?
I did not.
Oh, man.
Almost. I thought I had it.
Oh, we're almost out of time.
We're almost out of time.
We're gonna get locked in the escape room forever. But anyway, so you look at all of these things that sort of go into this. I say the Galaxy play physical. I say the Galaxy play for set pieces. Try to create them. Corner kicks.
Well, Steres, the way he was getting opportunities, I think. You look at the size on FC Dallas. If you can draw those fouls, Antuna and Boateng, and then whip it in and have Polenta and Steres causing havoc, that is the game plan. I agree.
Yeah. So do that, but also be cautious about when you get forward. I think you're right. Play defense a little bit. I think just looking at who the LA Galaxy are going to have available, I really think the Galaxy are going to play in. We've looked at the 4-2-3-1. I think that's going to shift a little bit with Corona in there. I think they're going to really line up Corona and Lletget together and sort of have Jonathan Dos Santos in behind. That makes a lot of sense to me. And by the way, that doesn't mean that they all don't rotate in those positions.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I think that's where Jonathan gets placed by default. But when you watch him play, he doesn't hang back. He likes to move forward. So as long as the communication was definitely there with Lletget last season. So if that relationship, they're still clicking, that's great. If Corona can make himself, fit in with that chemistry and they're just rotating and it's flowing, like a fine wine, then I think we could see some good things happening here.
Okay, so being that you won the I don't know whatever we call it, the announcer off. Being that you won the announcer off, the fly is dead.
Oh, you got it?
I got it. We did it.
Well done. We did it, folks.
With seconds to spare, the fly is dead.
Wait, there's a second fly.
Oh, wait. No. You don't want people don't want to see me cry. No. So, being you won it, I want you can give what you think your predicted lineup is. Okay. And then I will tell you where I think you're wrong, or if you get it 100% right. You're allowed to get it 100% right.
All right, you ready? Up top,
you
go Pontius. Zlatan's not available. You slot Pontius in there.
Right.
With Alessandrini gone, you move Antuna to the right. You have Boateng on the left.
Mm-hmm.
I think you start Corona.
Yep.
And you start Jonathan Dos Santos. I don't think Lletget is ready to start.
Okay.
So I think you go Carrasco. So maybe you put Corona at the top of the triangle, and then Jonah and Carrasco on the bottom. And maybe that's something where Jonathan and Joe Corona can maybe switch spots. Carrasco, I don't know that I trust moving forward a whole lot, especially since he got megged by Schweinsteiger last week.
Mm-hmm.
Then in defense, nothing new here. Polenta, Steres in the middle, Rolf and Shelvik on the outside. The one cautionary tale, and you mentioned it, Dallas, where they can kill us is on the counterattack. So Rolf and Jorgen need to be careful and really pick their moments.
Right.
Rolf was flying up the wing almost carelessly against Chicago, so maybe you don't want to see him push as much. Maybe have him hang back a little bit more than he did last week. But I think that's the lineup that I would expect to see.
Yeah, I think that you're going to see Lletget start. It feels that way. We'll see. Okay. Again, it depends on what happens on Friday. It's like, hey, he's been training. He's been feeling good. He's optimistic. I think Guillermo's optimistic about him. Okay. It's all about how do you feel on Friday and how do you feel on Saturday?
Well, I want him to start.
Yeah.
I think he's the best option to start, but I just don't know, coming off the injury, and you don't want to push him too much maybe want to limit his minutes, he might be more impactful off the bench than he would be starting.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Luchi Gonzalez for FC Dallas now, sort of coaching that team. So no more Oscar Pereja.
Different. Yeah, it's
right?
different.
It's different.
Just like there's a different feel around the Galaxy in a good way. It seems like FC Dallas, maybe there's going to be some growing pains there this season.
Yeah, and I think if you're the Galaxy, you sort of sit there and say, okay, good. If you're having growing pains at the beginning of this, do it now because we would like to beat you. If you look at the Galaxy, I'll tell you right now that if they get past FC Dallas, that Minnesota is going to be a tough game for them.
Yes.
Minnesota is a talented team this year. They're better. They're not upper echelon yet, but they will fight the Galaxy for what they have.
They also came into, formerly StubHub Center, now Dignity Health Sports Park. They came into last season and gave the Galaxy a fit. They didn't have quit. And I think now with Quintero and the pieces that they have, the Galaxy need to take that game seriously. Minnesota is not the walkover that they used to be.
Yeah,
that's FC Cincinnati's job now.
Yeah, exactly. They're the bottom dwellers for a little while. It certainly seems that that's going to be the case. So anyway, that's what you have. The LA Galaxy getting ready to face off against FC Dallas at Toyota Stadium. This game is on Univision and Unamas. So that's where you can find it. I believe those also get broadcast on Twitter. Isn't that the ones that get broadcast on Twitter?
They usually are.
Okay, so check on Twitter as well if you can't find it. Saturday, March 9th. This is a 12:30 p.m. Pacific time kickoff. So an early day.
But it's a nice lunch. And there's tons of viewer parties out there.
There's so many.
Friend of the show, Brian Souza, he has a party over in Temecula Craft Brewery out in Temecula if you're out in that area of the world. And then, of course, if you follow any of the supporters groups,
there's so many.
I'm surprised there's not one in my backyard. It's like, where's the party exactly where you are? Because it seems like you could throw a dart anywhere in Southern California and land at a LA Galaxy watch party. So find your way to one of those.
So tell me what your predicted score is. We can be wrong next time we do this.
Oh, I don't want to be wrong, but I'm going to be right. 1-1. 1-1. Galaxy walk out of there with a point.
I am going to say it is 2-1. The Galaxy lose.
Oh man,
wow. Second game of the season.
You lost twice.
Already.
See, that's
Kick this guy out.
Get this guy out of here.
If I go out, everything just goes silent. Yeah. That's how this works. So I get to keep coming back. That's a good thing about being in charge. All right, so that's what the LA Galaxy have. It should be I think it's going to be a really interesting game. I think that they're going to be more evenly matched than people think. Even with the LA Galaxy being injured, it'll be interesting to see if any of those injuries basically come back and can do anything. So
and if you believe 538 has FC Dallas at a 53% chance to win, LA Galaxy 24%, and then 23 tie. So it's like a coin flip.
I'll tell you, but again, you go back and they haven't won since 2015. I mean, it's a thing.
Yeah, Dallas is the favorite, but again,
it's a coin flip.
Coin flip.
Flip. I mean, obviously those stats mean nothing.
It's either going to be a win, a draw, or a loss.
I mean,
one of those three.
I mean, why? Yeah, definitely one of those. I don't know which one. I'm leaning a little bit towards one, but really it's split evenly, 33% across all three. That's where we put it. So anyway, your LA Galaxy facing off against FC Dallas. We on this show, of course, will be back on Monday with the Panda himself back here to get you through what happened at the FC Dallas game and, of course, bring you up to date on all the LA Galaxy news. And then next Thursday, a live show again. So we're rocking and rolling. We're into this season now. Game number 2, week number 2 for Major League Soccer getting ready to kick off. LA Galaxy headed to face off against FC Dallas at Toyota Stadium again at 12:30 p.m. Pacific time kickoff. So make sure that you are checking that out. And then we'll be back here and go corner of the Galaxy and get all the fun stuff that we have there. We have scarves. We
plenty
have
for sale.
Plenty. Yeah, there's lots of stuff. There's scarves and there's T-shirts.
There's
buttons coming. Yeah, there's going to be very soon. The buttons. Go to our YouTube feed. You can see that. Yeah, there's wonderful shirts for sale. I mean, we could have had a better model, but hey, whatever. It happens.
Gotta get the 5 stars on camera.
Everybody really likes your jacket, by the way. Do you know if you can order those online because they're?
I didn't see them online. Saw them in stadium, and I acted fast because I've waited on apparel before, and then it disappears and doesn't come back. So get them while they're hot.
All right, good. People were asking, so I just want to make sure.
I make zero money off selling this jacket.
Are you sure?
Hey, Galaxy, send me a free jacket.
There you go. All right, tell people where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter at GISHammer. You could also hear me on the Guys in Shorts podcast. You can find them at Guys in Shorts Pod. We had a little bit of Beckham statue talk this week. And then, of course, you can find me on Instagram at Galaxy Profile. That's Galaxy Profoul. If you want to see us make fun of Dennis DeClose not enjoying himself in the rain.
That sounds like fun. All right, if you're looking for me on Twitter, it's at Guesman, JGUESMAN, and of course at Galaxy podcast. Head on over to cornerofthegalaxy.com. You can shop there. You can listen to our podcast. You can read our stories. We'll have our game preview up on Friday, getting you ready for the game. And, of course, check out Larry Morgan, not on Twitter's wonderful Galaxy notebook that's up right now. So check that out. Let's see. For Mr. Eric, the Portuguese Hammer Vieira, I'm Josh Guesman. You've been listening to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com. Have a great one, everybody.
You've been listening to the Corner of the Galaxy podcast on cornerofthegalaxy.com. You can follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Galaxy Podcast. And be sure to check out and subscribe to iTunes, Stitcher, and Facebook by searching for Corner of the Galaxy. And for all of your independent LA Galaxy news, discussion, and entertainment, including this podcast, head on over to cornerofthegalaxy.com. Fans, thanks for listening. We ask that you be kind and courteous to your neighbors as you leave the podcast. We thank you for joining us and look forward to seeing you again. Until then, I'm Michael Araujo, and on behalf of the entire Corner of the Galaxy crew, goodbye, everybody.